Hey everyone, Justin here for Future CPC Leaders, and welcome to our latest episode of Right On. So, I'll get right to it because this is something that I should be surprised. I want to be surprised, I guess, but I'm not. So the vote just happened in the Ethics Committee, and essentially the vote went exactly like probably most people predicted it would, with all the Liberals except for Nathan Erskine-Smith voting down Peter Kent's motion to bring the ethics commissioner in. And I'm disappointed, I guess, to say the least. What disappoints me most, I think, about this whole thing is that not that they voted no. I'm disappointed that they voted no, don't get me wrong. But I'm just disappointed that the committee members, so Anita Vanderbilt, Mona Fortier, Frank Bayless, those are the ones that sit on this committee regularly. They brought Steve McKinnon in as the Liberal hitman to whip that vote. But I'm most disappointed that these people didn't have the backbone, the political courage to speak up and say why they're voting this down, because there's precedence to bring the ethics commissioner in to defend the report, because that's what M. Pearson Smith wanted. He wanted to read Mary Dion the Riot Act. He thought he did a crappy job, and he wanted to call him on it. And the fact that these three Liberal MPs didn't have the courage to speak on behalf of their constituents and tell him, if they thought Justin Trudeau did nothing wrong, tell them you were way off. And like I said, there's precedence for these people to come in and do this. So the fact that they didn't open their mouth the whole time, to me, makes this even more shambolic. It's just like a kick to the groin for those constituents, because the person that they've sent to Ottawa, and I know one of the seats is super safe, it's going to go Liberal no matter what. The other two, Karen McCrimmon too, I'm sorry, she voted it down as well. But her vote, boy oh boy, if she could have turned her microphone down any lower, I don't think it would have been possible. It was like a total no. Wow. But anyway, they knew what they were doing was wrong. It was just ridiculous, and the fact that they let Steve McKinnon get up there and read the Liberal talking points about it's all about the jobs, and what he did on behalf of the jobs. It was all for the Canadians. And then I think it was Charlie Angus said, can you table the report that says that there was going to be however many thousands of jobs lost? And he literally laughed when he said no. It was just like, my God, you know what I mean? You couldn't keep a straight face when you said no. So at least Nathan Erskine-Smith at least went out and had some dignity and said, you know what, Mario Dion, you got this so wrong, and I'm going to redo the Riot Act for it. And I guess they would have cared a lot more about his vote had Bayless, Karen McCrimmon, Vanderbilt, Mona Fortier, I think I said Bayless already, but Bayless, if they had have had the courage to speak up and vote that they wanted to see the ethics commissioner as well, I guess the votes would have mattered much more. So they let him off the leash a little bit, because this is typical for him, and he has political courage, and he has a backbone, and he wasn't afraid to say, you know what, this is what usually happens in this committee, and we need to continue with that tradition. So, but just the sheer getting back to the Liberal talking points, you know what I mean? And then to have the nerve to say that the NDPs, the Conservatives, and the Greens were playing politics with it, I think that was just a really cheap thing to say. You know, I don't think that there's a shower long enough that Steve McKinnon can take to wash off this one, because he's just such a liberal puppet, and it showed today. And again, he's sitting in a safe liberal seat. He knows it, so he's going to do the bidding of the PMO, but the way that he did it was just so insulting. I would have had more respect for him if he had have just went up there and said, you know what, no, we're voting this down. I'm not going to get into why. We're whipping the vote, and Mr. Erskine-Smith's voting the way he is, and he'll explain why, but the rest of us are voting no. At least I would have had more respect for him, because he was doing exactly what everyone knew he was doing. But to dance around with all the talking points and holier than thou, it's your fault and all this stuff, it was just so embarrassing to watch. And then to watch the other 3 or 4 liberals on the committee literally say nothing, I think was, to me, the icing on the cake of this whole debacle. Again, Justin Trudeau's like the Roadrunner. I mean, you can't pin this guy down. He just escapes time after time, and he's gonna do it again with this one here. So it's unfortunate. I think that we all kind of knew how this was gonna go, and just hoped that one of those Liberal MPs had enough backbone to say, we're going to continue on with the way that this committee's done its business in the past, and we're going to bring Mr. Tian, who was waiting, by the way. He was like, call me in, I want to talk too. So I think that I had really hoped there was one person on that committee other than Erskine-Smith who I was really hoping would have voted in favor of Mr. Kent's motion, and she didn't, and I'm super disappointed in her, because I really, partisan politics aside, we're all Canadians. We all want what's best for the country, and I think that the way that the Conservatives want to run the country is better, but I don't think you're a bad person for being a Liberal. I just don't agree with your policy. And so there was one person who I had a bit more respect for, that I really thought maybe would vote in favor, and she didn't, and that was disappointing. It was disappointing to see just how desperate these people are, especially a couple of them in close races coming up. And I know that it's an election year and whatnot, but to say that this was all about the jobs, and oh my gosh, I would do it again. Oh, I'm the victim in here. The way that Justin Trudeau and Steve McKinnon were trying to lay this out was just so gross. And I think that while it might not be an election issue, because we're on August the 20 something first or something like that, I think that the leaders would do well. And I think especially where maybe it won't resonate as high up into the affect the leaders and the overall outcome, it could affect some of those ridings. And I think you're damn right that it could affect some of those people sitting on those committees races. And I think that whoever's running against them would do well to make people remember that vote, that they picked party over country. And that's exactly what happened. I think we all need to be honest and say that. And I get it's politics, and if the shoe was on the other foot, I might well be arguing another point. But I'd like to think that I've got enough integrity to say, if this is how it's gone, and there's a precedence for the commissioner to come in and voice their opinions and the goings on of how they got to those conclusions, then you know what? I would like to think that I would say yes, bring them in. And if we're so confident in what we've done, and that what we've done isn't wrong, that's, I think, the thing that is going to really bug a lot of people, is the fact that if you are so confident that the leader of your caucus and the Prime Minister didn't do anything wrong, what would have been the harm? What would have been the harm in letting them come in? So I think that the Charlie Angus, Pierre Poilievre, Lisa Ray, Elizabeth May, Lisa Ray lives with me. That's funny. I think they did a really, really good job of making the Liberals on this committee look weak and um, completely void of any political integrity. And so, from that standpoint, bravo, you did an amazing job, all of them. Um, but I think for them, the Liberals will see this as a victory and hope like hell that this disappears in a hurry. So I just wanted to put out this quick video. Obviously, this was going to be big news anyway, so I just wanted to get this out. You can check out the. I'll be back onto a regular schedule, probably not this week, but next week, talking about the Liberals campaigning, even though like they're not campaigning, but. So we'll be talking about that, and we'll be talking about some other things coming up. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter, Future CP Leaders, and the website. I'll put it in the bottom part. It'll go down there for you guys to link over. Again, we've got lots of great 5 questions coming up, key race alerts, getting to know the candidates, and things like that. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.